Composer of the Month series brought to you by the Composers Society of Singapore. I am Pei In, the publicity member of CSS. Today, I will be sharing more about local composer Yi Xuan as well as his works.
Hi everyone, my name is Tjan Yi Xuan and I'm a Singaporean composer, pianist and horn player. So how my musical journey began was that, like many other people, I began my music journey with learning the piano, and I learned pieces from grade 8, ABRSM grade 1 to 8 repertoire, and this was my foundational introduction to the world of classical music. And in secondary school, this was where I joined the band CCA. Shout out to Anderson Military Band here, and enrolled in the O-level music program, where I really developed a love for ensemble and orchestral music, learning about classical repertoire ranging from like Brandenburg concertos by Bach to Debussy's Prelude to the Afternoon of a Faun. And this was also my first exposure to composition, where I actually wrote classical songs in the style of Schubert, not in really, in a manner of Schubert, in a similar framework to what we would do for MUT assignments currently. After my O-levels, I actually wrote my first free composition that's not examined, and that was my sonatina in B-flat major, which I orchestrated for classical chamber orchestra. And if you're interested, you can find a mock-up of this on my YouTube channel. Continuing my pursuit of music in JC, I took up A-level music, which introduced me to the whole world of modern music with composers like Charles Ives. And I was actually quite overwhelmed and confused at first, but after learning about different listening approaches and getting used to modern harmony, I started to see their true beauty. And the composition component of the A-level actually tied in really nicely, where we learned about modern compositional techniques. My tutor, Mr. Lee Ji Heng, and alumni Joan Tan Jing Wen, whose A-level portfolio showed me how cool new music could be, were instrumental in inspiring me, showing that actually there are composers writing this kind of music today, and the idea that I could write such music in 2 years' time, that was when I was J1, and being in J2, the idea that I could write such music in 2 years' time really excited me, and young naive me wanted to get hold of the most avant-garde techniques and put them to use in my own compositions. After graduation from JC, my parents permitted me more financial freedom, and this was where I explored more concerts and workshops, deepening my love for music a lot more. I bonded and learned from Joan and others who are currently my seniors here in the YST Combo Studio. And with this passion for music and wholesomeness of the Compo Studio, I decided to pursue a music degree at YST, majoring in composition, and I'm really grateful to have been offered a spot here. So this period was also a time where I really pushed for opportunities to have my works, alongside my friends, performed live by live musicians, starting with a ground-up initiative called Menagerie, organized together with my classmates Joel and Xavier and others from EJC and YST. We too signed up for various call for scores, one of which is the Young Composers Forum, which featured my piece Entropy 4, and another one that was really memorable and magical was the SSO Composer Workshop with Dr. Zachariah Goh, where I got to hear my orchestration of 1.36 North, originally a piano piece I wrote for the A-level portfolio. This was very magical because it's really nice to see how my orchestrations in a romantic style and impressionist style really sounded on my own piece. And it's really nice to see the other compositions by Joan Tan, the same mentor who inspired me at A levels, as well as Colton Collier, Ong Lin Wei, Wong Chao Chai, and Luo Enning. This was also the beginning of lots of self-discovery and new knowledge about musical approaches and realities. This include the introduction to the pop world through playing for my church's worship team, becoming a Leve fan, forming and nurturing Racinta Wind Symphony together with my friends, and much, much more. Fast forward to today, where I'm studying in YST here. My time so far has been extremely enriching, and though it's very vigorous, I would say that it really helped me to relearn classical music with a critical thinking lens. Really firmed up my knowledge of modern harmony through the study of the Persichetti book, as well as shaping my musical thinking through a module about patronage. So I really have to say that being in YST changes the way I think about music and how I relate to others musically as well. I've really learned so much here, and it's only been 1.5 semester, and how much more for the next 3.5. So Entropy for Fallouts is a semi-programmatic piece evoking the idea of friendships falling apart, hence the title Fallout. It is the fourth piece in my Entropy series, a set of pieces about problems faced in this broken world. I envision a journey where two parties, initially amicable with one another, start having disagreements and part ways, and the third party attempts to bring them back together but fails. So I wrote it loosely in a theme and variation form, where each variation starts with a stable state, signified by open string C and G on the viola and cello, followed by something unstable in each instrument, and each subsequent variation gets shorter and shorter and more chaotic. I characterize the viola with very squeaky and very annoying kind of sounds, and the cello with very grounded really grounded scratch tones, that kind of sound. So for an example would be the viola playing arpeggios behind the bridge, and the cellos playing a C string over pressure scratch tone, such as in page 5 system 2. My approach to the electronics was one that's reactionary, so this means that changes are triggered by the conflicts happening in the viola and cello, not in an analog sense whereby certain events trigger electronics, but it's built into the composition. So in earlier sections, changes are merely harmonic, such as by extending a quinto or quarter chord already present. And in later sections, this is where I introduce more noise-based changes. And as a bass sound, I use the Ableton atmospheric pad sound to create something really cinematic and immersive. And to enhance it, I added an electric piano with a slight delay to make it really atmospheric and slightly more attack. Adding to my point about the noise-based changes, which are actually more intense reactions happening later on in the piece. So to get this sound, I sampled actually tubular bell sounds from MuseScore, whereby the tubular bells play a major 7 interval at 2 different dynamics. And so what I did was that I mapped these sounds to the higher octave of the keyboard, and C to F sharp having the lower dynamics, and then G to the other C having the higher dynamics. These bells come in the middle section, and actually to further increase the intensity of these bells, other than using dynamics of the bells themselves, I use a kind of unique digital distortion which added a kind of very bubbly sound to the bells, and this is triggered by changes in the CC1, which normally used by the modulation wheel on the left, but we advertise use the foot pedal, which also works really well. And so this all accumulates in the point at which the electronics falls apart, which is the point that the mediator fails to put them back together, and the chaos ensues. So this is where the viola and cello create an extremely chaotic sound world. I wanted this idea where the conflict continues forever. So I recorded Christopher and Tjan Yi Xuan playing each of the materials in that chaotic section and created music concrete with that, organizing them in Ableton one after another, creating like seemingly random soundscape. And then for the impression of going on forever, I sampled it into another track and then I added more and more reverb, decreasing the volume so that it sounds like this whole conflict is going on further and further into the distance, but it's still going on and it never actually fades out. Yeah, slightly philosophical concept, but yeah, I found that really cool. Since Entropy 4, I have experimented with live electronics in the follow-up to the Entropy series in Entropy 5. So Entropy 5 was another musical journey towards chaos, which I wrote for bassoon, piano and live electronics. In this piece, the live electronics is initially used as a second piano, like in Entropy 4, which is also layered with some kind of atmospheric sounds. But in subsequent sections, I experimented by adding a low frequency oscillation to the pitch, fine tuning of the pitch, which created a really microtonal effect, which can range from like quarter tone, a third tone, or anywhere in between. So when layered together with the live piano, it creates this microtonal harmonies, which I find really, really cool. And in addition, I also added like cinematic sub booms, like what you hear in trailer music, to the bass register, replace the bass register of the piano to really add that really cinematic effect. After Entropy 5, I shifted my attention more towards instrumental music, where I wrote and arranged for orchestra, wind quartet and piano in the first semester of study at YST and slightly before. Recently, as part of one of my modules, I have been getting back into writing electronic music, and I'm currently writing a piece of music concrete in the likes of Varese and Ligeti. In the future, I really hope to experiment with like live processing and also layering of more organic electronic sounds with instruments, as a departure from the second piano approach that I've been using currently. Yes, a few months back, my classmates and I at YST wrote pieces for piano and wind quartet separately, and they will be performed during the YST Chamber Music Week, happening from March 16 to 23rd. And we'd really appreciate it if you all could be there to support us. Also, I applied for some courses in the Darmstadt summer course, and though chances are slim, if I do get in, I'll be writing some more solo, duos and trio pieces, which may or may not include electronics. And in addition to that, I have been experimenting with this idea, sonic possibilities of a styrofoam block bowed by a violin bow, which I really find cool and was inspired by its use in Clara Ionetta's pieces. And I might intend to write a piece based on this idea with or without electronics, and really excited to really embark on this development of the styrofoam block piece, seeing what sonic possibilities there are, and hopefully giving a presentation of it as in a public concert.
Thank you for watching the video. Do like, share and subscribe to our social media pages in order to get more updates. See you soon for the next series of The Composer of the Month in March. Bye!